Good evening everyone, welcome back to Witch in the Woods here on the Yogscast Complete Pack server. So we are, today, taking a bit of a break from the motel build. A lot of you pointed out correctly that watching me build things on end whilst yammering and extremely sleep deprived is not exactly the most entertaining of footage. So I'm doing more or less the exact opposite today. So I am on the upper end of the sleep schedule. I have more or less just woken up and I'm just presently imbibing tea to keep me from like going back to sleep. And we are not going to be touching the motel build whatsoever today. We are, in fact, going to be doing something altogether quite different. I'm going to be showing off the Death set of Witchery. Now, you only saw me get one piece of this, which is the Hand of Death. There we are. But I got an ask on my Tumblr, asking me how exactly the Death set is so tremendously, revered and valued. And the answer is that, well, generally speaking, people kind of think it's a little bit lackluster because Witchery has a very special approach to balancing. So, if we hop on over towards where, of course it's raining, towards where we set up our death fighting stage, not to be confused with the death fighting stage, which is where you just fight people who can't hear, I have set up a few things. So, this is the complete Death armor set. It consists of a hood, some robes, and some footwear, and each piece gives you different effects as well as a overall bonus if you happen to be wearing the entire set. So the hood will give you night vision, for one thing, but its most poignant ability, its gaze instills fear, causing victims to freeze, which specifically means that if you look at someone, that they will gain the effect Slowness 3. Now, Slowness 3 generally doesn't exist in Minecraft. It is extremely, excruciatingly slow kind of effects, and there's more or less no way around it. You can, for example, use the Talisman of Remedium, as I have, right here, but it keeps being applied as long as you are staring at the person, so that will damage their talisman quite rapidly. More or less, the best way to get through the slowness of Death's Hood is purely brute force. You want modular power suits, or you want to get into some severe speed like Ars Magica and such. But by and large, this is actually really, really helpful because it makes people basically sitting ducks. Okay, the next piece that we have is the robes. Now, it says resistant to fire. It's actually quite a bit more. Now, let me just take that off for looks there. And, oh boy, I have gone on a massive diet, it seems. What it actually means is immunity to fire and lava. Now, fair enough, you can do that with a potion effect of fire resistance. But, like, this is outright immunity to fire and lava. Like, that's actually pretty dang good. That actually means that, like, you can go and swim in the Nether anytime. Doesn't even damage the ropes. So, pretty dang good there as well. Ooh, need to actually take it off, don't I? Yeah, there it is. So, last piece is Death's Footwear. Walk on water. Again, this is actually a little underselling itself, because the actual effect is that you can walk on liquids. So you can walk on lava, you can walk on water, you can walk on most modded liquids, like, in this pack. So, you can walk on, like, oil, you can walk on, like, liquid redstone, you can walk on, like, you can walk on liquid ender, actually, as well, which is kind of entertaining. So again, pretty potent, like, really a lot more potent than it sells itself as. And then the final piece of Death's set is the Hand of Death, which you've all seen already, and this thing's effect is pretty brutal, honestly. I said when I got it that it ignores armor. That's actually, like, the lower tier grade of what it's potent of, like, what its capabilities are, because it actually, its damage varies based on the health of the person you hit it with, and that damage is always 15% of their max health. So in the case of me, who has 100 health, that means 15 points of damage every single strike. In the case of someone who is just regular old 20, maybe they've just spawned in the world and you are terrorizing them, you're actually looking at closer to about 2 or 3 damage, but that's every hit. So, the fact that it also ignores armor makes it pretty dang good. But if you happen to be of the particular persuasion and capacity to gain the entire set, and oh boy, is this going to be an interesting look. Yep, I am deaf with a backpack. And a hand. So, now, we can see that my hunger is jittering a little bit, but the special bonus, if you happen to have the entire set of death on you, is if I shift and right-click, then I get to wield Death's Scythe itself. And you can also see that my hunger has dropped tremendously. So I am now, in fact, taking damage from hunger. But because of the resistance effect I have from my genes, it's not actually doing me any damage. So this is actually a pretty nice setup for me. What the Scythe does is it allows you to just basically use the same effect as the hand, just by itself, but it chains. It can hit, like, several enemies at once, if you should so wish it. Now, of course, as usual, when I'm trying to show something off, there is no one around to actually show this off on. But, yeah. Oh well. So it inflicts the same chill touch effect on everyone. So again, 15% damage of max health on every target that you hit. And additionally, the lower your hunger is, the higher the damage. So I'm presently starving to death, and that's actually a benefit for me. Like, I want to be starving right now. Additionally, the actual hunger rate draining is at a rate of 1 point per second. And if you don't, for example, have kind of ridiculous genetics like I do to get the resistance to effect and other things, killing people, like actually damaging people, will restore some hunger and health every single time, depending on how low your hunger is, which is probably close to 0 anyways. But let's go see if we can find somebody to show this off. We might be able to find some animals, at least. Nope, that's sand. Okay. I may have to, like, pause and go and get some dudes. But, oh, nope, there's a piggy. There is a piggy. Okay. So, pig has 8 out of 10. Now he's just lost 5. And he's also, like, taking liver from my genes, but, you know. So, yeah, apparently, advanced genetics, a good mix. And a chicken. Oop. Full 4. Probably doesn't help that I'm, like, ridiculously over genetics. I'm not exactly a fantastic example of a like, average of an average Minecraft character. I almost did D&D character. Wow, there for a second. Jeez. Oop, there is a squid with a nice hat there. So let me just get rid of this scythe for the moment. A bit of nom. Wasn't a good piece of nom. I should have used the bread. Oh well. Right. Now, from all of that, you're probably thinking, okay, what's it like armor-wise? Well, as you can see from my armor bar, it is basically like iron or leather armor. Bear in mind, I've not got the full, like, set of iron here. If I had, like, iron leggings, I could fill up that, like, selection. But it has the durability of diamond. And, moreover, there is also the additional benefit that you can repair it using iron ingots in an anvil. So if it gets really, like, scuffed up, then you are perfectly capable of very cheaply repairing it. You don't need diamonds to fix it, you just need iron, and it works quite well. Which is a pretty dang good, like, advantage there. That's very cheap. You've got this really powerful armor that's, like, actually kind of cheap to fix. But how can we make it better? Like, this is a mod pack where there are people like me running around, there are people like Dave running around. So, first thing is the hunger. You might starve to death using your own secret super weapon. Fortunately, Witchery provides a solution with that, with the hunger protection puppet. So, let me just have that on my bar, and let's bring out our sword again. There goes our hunger again. It's about a rate of 1 a second. And very soon enough, I'll be starving to death. So, yeah, I'm again not taking damage because of that. But if I were to potentially starve to death, this would trigger and it would take the damage for me instead. So, Witchery provides you a solution to that potential possibility of starving to death whilst running around as a skeleton. Seems reasonable to me. The other possible option is that, being that it is iron armor, and being that there's a lot of super weapons on the server, you might wonder, okay, what do I do if this extremely hard to get boss armor breaks? Like, then I have to go and collect a whole ton of ghosts and ghoulies to try and, like, repair it, get it back, that kind of thing. And even then, it's not necessarily sacred. Answer to that is the armor protection poppet. So, let me see, there it is. It's the only one that has a that doesn't have a texture. So, 2 Drop of Luck, a poppet, and 2 Reek of Misfortune. Well, a Reek of Misfortune and a Diamond Vapor. Those are very similar colors. Yeah. Gets you the armor protection poppet. Originally, this was added so that things like the witch robes and such, which are even lower on durability, would actually stick around for longer, because these are valuable things that are kind of, like, expensive to recraft. So, Eminif quite happily and quite kindly added the armor protection poppet, which I presently have on autocrafts, which is why all of my gear has never broken. Same thing with the death protection poppets, but that's, like, a whole other issue. So, one way here to make sure that you never starve to death from using the death scythe, and one way to make sure that your armor is never broken, which is very good because it's very expensive. So far, we're looking at basically immortal armor. That's kind of hard to come against. Like, just more or less the best, like, other example I can think of immortal armor just happens to be modular power suits, which don't take damage. So, although they can overheat and kill you in the process. Okay. Now, given that, it's still like Iron Tier armor, so it's not necessarily the most potent, and the 15% damage is pretty handy considering that it scales by the enemy, but it's not necessarily, like, massively dangerous. I can't, for example, put cyanide onto my Hand of Death and have it transfer to the scythe. I wish I could, that would be freezing, that'd be pretty cool, especially since I killed Death using cyanide, but the Hand of Death is more or less what you see is what you get. You can't really do much about that. But the armor, on the other hand, does have a fair few options. So here I have a bookcase, and this is stocked to the gills with enchanted books, so things you can put on it is our ever-favourite Flim Flam, which in a PvP match is actually pretty dang good, because it just completely wrecks the person that's attacking you, especially if they use ongoing effects like Ars Magica tends to. Otherwise, if you're fighting some of Ars Magica adds magic resistance, so if you can get your hands on some magic resistance books, you're pretty much golden again. We also have Last Stand, which I believe is part of Extra Utilities. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% certain. And what that does is it trades your XP bar for damage that you would otherwise take. So if you would die, it starts to drain your XP, which is pretty good because your XP can be huge if you do, like, a decent mob farm. Your XP level can be in the hundreds, and it's not like a single level per thing. If you have Last Stand 2, it's actually quite small amounts of XP. So Last Stand, not to be underestimated, and you can put it on all 3 parts of this armor. There is also, of course, the Standard Vanilla Protection, which will make it pretty dang good. It's not necessarily like 100, like you'll never take damage, but you will take fairly little. Let's see, and then we also have, let's see, I'm sure I had more around here. There we are, Haste Free. If you are a particular favourite of the Boots of the Traveller from Famcraft, then wearing Death's footwear might feel a bit slow. So fortunately, we have Haste Free, which I believe is added by Mariculture, among other things. So for example, I've actually been walking around with Mariculture enchantments for quite a while. Namely, I've been walking around with Poison Ivy, which reduces the amount of damage that I can take from poison effects, because I'm immune to Wither, but not poison. I also have, like, this Time Lord, but it doesn't get much use because it's almost constantly broken. These don't break as such. Whenever they just get low on durability, you stick them on a blacksmith's anvil and you can repair them. You can put all manner of enchantments on these, and Mariculture adds a whole bunch of wacky kind of enchantments to use. And, let me see, I have a magic mirror around here, there we are. So, these, you just stick around so that you can access all of this, and you can't actually, you can enchant in here as well, I should note, but you can't usually activate these or access them unless you have a mirror of some kind. There's the mirror, the magic mirror, and the celestial mirror. But, yep, that's that, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to start sounding like Direwolf now, aren't I? Jeez. Okay. Ha! But maybe even then you're still worried about your own health. Maybe you're worried about your own survival. In which case, I remind you, genetics. Relatively cheap, bit of a power hog, but relatively cheap to get into. A single scraper will get you a lot of genes from a lot of things. You can get speed, you can get resistance 2 from just a zombie, which is pretty dang good. You can get extra hearts from iron golems, which is why, despite having only 10 reds and 8 yellows, I have 100 health. I'm into the blue hearts, which you don't normally see, unless somebody is cheating. You can, like, do all sorts of stuff. Like, I've got a piece of armor, I've got one of my mariculture jewelry has never hungry 5 on it, which means that it's constantly trying to refill my hunger bar. I've got resistance 2, which means I take only about 60% damage that I normally would. I've got speed 2 from ocelots, which means I'm constantly pretty speedy. I've got night vision, I've got wither punch, I've got poison punch, I've got, like, so much stuff, and I'm wearing the dev set. I could mess somebody up. I could, like, do some severe harm to people. Like, this will massively wreck people, even if they're wearing modular power suits. This is pretty damn good. But yeah, I wish that I could put, like, cyanide on the Hand of Death. I wish I could do some really cool, some cool stuff with that. But suffice it to say, this set is, like, not to be overlooked. So give me a moment now to shiny things up, and I'll be right back to maybe give you off. I'm going to go head over to the zombie dungeon that's been sitting around for ages, and we can show you off exactly the kind of potency that this can get. So, back in a moment. Right, welcome back. I am the shiniest form of death that you're likely to ever see. So, I have tricked out this armor, and I actually realized you can enchant the Hand of Death. You can't put Mindchem chemicals on it, but you can put Sharpness 5, Looting 3. If you put, potentially if you put like potassium cyanide on something else and then disenchant it later, you might be able to get a book of potassium cyanide coated and put that onto this. But for now I haven't done that, so I can't verify exactly if it's the case. But since we are not wearing our Necromancer's robes, these guys are actually going to be hostile to us for once, which makes this quite a bit different to the first time that I was in here. Hello, gents. How are you feeling? Because I've come to repay your debts. Okay, I'm just dealing about 3 damage there. And... look at that. 3 damage against basically everyone. I imagine I'd be doing better if I had Smite right now, but I just sent this entire crowd of people back to, like, hide and repair. The more they bunch together, the more damage they all take. Now granted, I am taking quite a bit of damage here, but I'm also dealing damage to a whole ton of people. So as long as I'm running around here... Hi there. Yeah, unfortunately that's not going to help you. So as long as I'm just running around here, let me talk a bit about the homework assignment, which happened to be for Jacob's Ladder, which blends in quite well with our story, of our little, like, investigation here today. Oh, that's me dying of hunger, or trying to. Oh, 10 damage on a backstab, okay. So Jacob's Ladder is dominantly about perspective and trauma. The thing that they mention quite a bit is the same action being observed from 2 different kind of, like, perspectives of, oh, I want to stay on Earth, why are you dragging me away from it? And, oh, I want to be released, please take me away from this cursed land kind of thing. Yeah, that's not really going to help you. Because I can deal damage to you without you even being, like, my target. So it's very much a matter of taking one thing and looking at it, and you have killed yourself, sir. Well done. So it's really a matter of the same, like, notion being viewed from different perspectives. Now, unfortunately, there isn't going to be a necromancer at the end of this. But we can deal. We can deal. This is still doing pretty nicely, actually. I'm just walking through here. And of course, Flim Flam doesn't affect mobs, but it would be affecting, like, a bastion full of players right now if I was using it. And yeah, I kind of wish I'd tried to put potassium cyanide on this, because cyanide is, like, really almost underrated in regards to, like, its capacity, and it's really cheap to make as well. And oh, I think I'm getting close to the well because my FPS is dropping a bit. Yeah, come on. Yeah. And I'm now nearly at full hunger because I'm regaining when I kill these zombies. Nice, pretty nice. But yeah, it also deals in, like, trauma. Jacob was in like the middle of Vietnam. He had things done to him unwillingly, and then he dies, and he doesn't realize it for the longest portion of time. And the whole thing is, if you don't yet know you're dead, then you've tried to stay alive. But if you're already dead, and here I'm getting my spider genes, annoying. If you know that you're dead, then you want to move on, because they kind of describe it as, like, rotting your soul the longer you're dead and don't really realize it. So as gruesome as Jacob's Ladder can be at points, and I think this was me accidentally tunneling in one time. It is chiefly a matter of the soul and the spirits, and oh boy, I'm about to wreck these guys. Hello, boys! Welcome to die! Just loving the AoE damage here. Just loving it. And just so many people retreating to heal up. Oh, I'm just ruining the defender there. I'm damaging him past his shield, which is a pretty decent benefit, actually, because the shield using Chocolate Quest mobs tend to be kind of immune to damage for a large portion of their efforts. Oh, come on, you're an archer. Why are you hitting me? There we go. Got rid of you. Ah. So yeah, it seems like you're kind of fighting the hunger, because you regain it when you kill people, but you need it to be low so you can do the most damage. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. So, our next piece, that will be... Oh, hello, it's a healer. It's a zombie healer. I'm actually going to leave you, because, like, I can do way better stuff if you're, like, still alive. So, excuse me. Hope I don't kill you by accident. Oh, no, I'm actually gonna have to kill you because we're healing people. Ah, so much mischief. So much mischief. Whoop, that's a grenadier. Who didn't actually manage to achieve very much in his lifetime there. That's another grenadier. I left a ton of people around here. Jeez. I should probably make... I want to make, like, more summon spells. Whoop. So instead of just bringing along Rudy, who would also actually probably wreck the place. Yeah, I can't hit you because you're glitched in the ground. That's not fair at all. Our next piece that we're going to be enjoying... By the way, this has been your daily death service announcement. Can I, please? No? Okay, thank you. Is going to be Rampo Noir. This is a 2005 anthology film containing 4 parts, directed by such directors as Akio Jishoji, Atsushi Kaneko, Hisayasu Sato, and Suguru Takeuchi. Content warnings for Rampo Noir, whilst I slowly started to kind of, are body horror, torture, blood, lots of blood, and rape. So... Be aware of that. The stories vary quite a bit in their, like, style and tone, because they are, well, of course, dealing with people in various states. Let me just heal up a little bit here, since the gents are being so kind and providing me with means to do so. And I hope you've enjoyed this analysis of the Witchery Death set and its maximum potential. This stuff is really cool, a lot of fun. It's not quite me, look-wise, but it's fun, it's cool, and it can be very potent if used properly. Other than that, I shall catch you all next time.